All right, guys, in this video, I want to talk about how, when, and why cryptocurrency will crash and how you can profit from it. Now, before we get started, I want to make this clear. This is just my opinion. This is an extremely risky activity and should only be done by seasoned investors with money they can afford to lose. I'm not a financial advisor. This is a video that should not be taken as financial advice and is for entertainment purposes only. Now, before we get started with this video, I want to also lay down the groundwork of how I came to these thoughts and these beliefs. So first, we're going to start with why pyramid schemes are illegal, how markets crash, and when cryptocurrency will crash. So first of all, with pyramid schemes. Now, if you don't know what a pyramid scheme, basically it's when somebody takes new people's money and gives it to the older investors. That's the simplest way to describe it. The reason they're illegal is because they typically do not have a good or service attached to it. This is why a lot of MLM companies get in trouble for it because they focus on the opportunity and not on the service or the product. And so that's typically how they get in trouble. They're more focused on that. One of the most popular pyramid schemes, and the person that's most named for it, is the Ponzi scheme, where Charles Ponzi was basically doing that. He was promising like 50% returns in like 45 days and 100% return in 90 days. And like I said, he was just taking the new investors' money and giving it to the old investors over and over again. The most common, or the most recent person is Madoff. He did that to billions and billions of dollars. And the craziest thing about his story was he didn't even get caught. He turned himself in. As the market started collapsing, he realized it was no longer unsustainable. So he basically turned himself in to protect himself, I believe, from people asking for their money back and things like that. So that's the craziest part about the Bernie Madoff dude. And he was taking money from reputable sources, guys. So this is showing you that even the most reputable, studied, knowledgeable people can still get scammed. So next, how markets crash. Now, market crashes are led by really two things: hype and hope. They're inflated value and continued growth that are just completely unsustainable. I like to think of it as reverse musical chairs. In musical chairs, a seat gets taken out, it gets more and more interesting, one person gets out. Well, in reverse musical chairs, more and more chairs get added as more and more people start playing, and this frenzy starts going, and everyone's having a good time, obviously until the bust happens. We'll talk about that later. One of the first market crashes in history was actually the bulb crash of the early 17th century, where people were buying and selling and hoarding tulip bulbs. It's crazy, right? But then in February of 1637, the market peaked, and it was difficult to find buyers. The value of tulips bulbs had completely plummeted. In the end, there was 40 million guild years, that's the source of currency they used at the time, in tulip debt. It was 6 times the amount of money in circulation. Entire family fortunes were wiped out. Some courts refused to enforce the tulip contracts, holding that the agreements were made on gambling more than investing. In recent history, you might remember the Beanie Baby bust. Do you remember that from the 90s? People were buying Beanie Babies and they were just going crazy with, thinking that was going to be a long-term investment. You also might remember the dot-com bust of the early 2000s, or the housing bust of 2008. I actually bought a house in 2007, and I remember it, and we'll kind of go into that later, what happened to me. But the most recent one was the toilet paper bubble. Didn't really happen, but it kind of felt like it. I remember that too. I remember I went to the store on Friday. I went to Walmart, and I live right next to a Walmart and a Target, and there was tons of toilet paper on Friday. And I remember hearing that people were starting to hoard toilet paper. And I looked around, I was like, there's plenty of toilet paper, like that's stupid. And at the time I had like a week's worth of toilet paper, so I was like, I'll be fine. Well, the following Monday, I had to go back to the store for something, and they were completely wiped out of toilet paper. Toilet paper, guys, like, that's insane. So if you think people are rational, logical people, then maybe you need to take a step back and analyze human behavior before you get into investing, because keep in mind, investing is a human behavior. So, and the biggest thing what causes every bust is people say, this time it's different. So I remember that feeling, and I remember, just all the different busts, like, this time it's different. And no, it's always the same. They're very cyclical. They're almost predictable. So we'll kind of get into that here in a second. Let's talk about what's going on right now with cryptocurrency. Currently, today, Bitcoin hit for over $30,000, which is insane. And there are currently, and this is from a blog I saw, it said that there are currently over 18 million Bitcoins in existence right now. And he said that they produce about, I want to say 6.25, which is a weird number, every 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, 6 more Bitcoins get mined. Like I said, guys, I am not a cryptocurrency expert. I'm just a guy who's infinitely fascinated by history and markets and things like that. So I guess like a marketing nerd, or not a marketing nerd, but a market and financial history nerd, I guess. But there's also 2,000 cryptocurrencies in existence right now, over 2,000. That's insane. I thought that was maybe like 5 or so. I knew Akin had his own, but I guess anybody can make their own cryptocurrency. So it just shows you it's completely unregulated. It is like the digital Wild West. It's ridiculous. So, and now if you think that the world governments and these financial institutions are just sitting around and waiting, doing nothing, then I'm pretty sure that there are some people with cases of beanie bags and toilet paper that have some toilet paper to sell you, because that is completely naive. That is completely just not logical for you to believe that. So here's what to look for before the bust. First of all, there's going to be an excess of printed money. Like I said, I don't know if that number I said earlier, it was completely true. I didn't even know how to find the actual number. It might exist somewhere, and if you know, leave it in the comments, go ahead. But that's going to eventually lead to more supply than demand. The next thing you need to look for is an excess of credit. What that means is too many people are going to be buying with leverage. Right now, there are so many apps that allow you to do that. Sorry, guys, my nose just started getting itchy. There are so many different apps that allow you to do that. And that's actually what I intended this video to be about. But as I started researching it more, I was like, whoa, this is way too volatile right now. I'd actually been researching this for a couple days now. And then, like I said, when I saw that Bitcoin hit 30 grand today, I was like, okay, I got to make this video today. So anyways, the third thing you need to look for is widespread belief in the power of this new technology and the societal change. Like, this time it's different. So when you start seeing more and more people do that, just know that bust is coming. Another thing is misaligned rewards. What I mean by that is what gets rewarded gets repeated. What I started to tell you about earlier, when I bought my house, I was 20 years old, and so this was in 2001, I guess. And this is years before the housing burst then. But yeah, I remember going to Wells Fargo, and I was 20, and so around 2001, and they're like, sir, we ran your credit, and you qualify for 100. They said 200,000. And my girlfriend at the time, we were buying it together. And when we picked the house, we found the house. It was like 157. This is in Arizona, and this is in early 2000. And just the middle of the housing, escalation, especially in Arizona. There was tons of homes being built, and so, anyways, when we went to sign, they're like, guys, like, we actually ran her credit too. Before we didn't run her credit, you guys are approved for $300,000. And we were like, dude, we're like 20 years old. Like, how is this even possible? Like, I felt uncomfortable with them offering me so much money. I'm like, this makes no logical sense. And they even piggyback loaned it. They did an 80-20 piggyback loan. So basically I paid $0 down, and that also saved me money on private mortgage insurance. So basically, it was one for 80%, one was 20%, and so they just had all these, like I said, misaligned rewards for rewarding people for spending money. And then also the fifth thing you need to look for is when trusted sources like government and business people start to embrace it more. I know some already are, but look for more 401k, cryptocurrencies being more widespread. I look for your major 401k companies start pushing that to the employees, pushing that to their salespeople. Say, hey, you can now start investing in cryptocurrency. I just deeply fear. I hope that retirees and baby boomers do not get sucked into that realm. And that's actually one of the reasons I'm making this video, just kind of to be like a preemptive warning. But here next I want to talk about how you can know the bust is near. First of all, you're going to see excessive price earning ratios, value metrics. What that means is when the cost of production is not aligned with the value. We already have that right now. So right now this pen, probably costs them $1 to make and they sell for $2. That's fair, right? There's some profit, there's some cost. Guys, I don't know what the cost of production to $1 or a Bitcoin is. I don't know if it's 1 to 1, if it's 1 billion to 1. We have no idea. So we already have that right now, but I still think we're quite a bit away from the bust. Second is financial value is not attached to free cash flow. What that basically means, it's no longer practical to trade. For instance, I'm in Mexico right now. This is 5 pesos. And so let's pretend this water bottle is 5 pesos and I want to, I'm selling this water, but I don't want to pay the 5 pesos because I'm concerned that this is going to be worth 10 pesos. Or this guy doesn't want to sell me the water bottle because he's like, that peso may be worth 1 peso tomorrow. I don't want to sell it. We already have that right now, guys. It's not practical to trade Bitcoin or a lot of cryptocurrencies for products. And I mean, you can't go to your local 7-Eleven and buy your groceries, I guess whatever you buy at 7-Eleven, or gas off of Bitcoin. You will start seeing that more. You will start seeing more and more people accepting cryptocurrency and that'll just come from like the vendors, like your Stripes and all your credit card processing systems. But I don't know if people will accept that regularly. It may happen after the bust. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a psychic. Nobody's a psychic. But like I said, right now, selling a Bitcoin for products is just not feasible. I don't see anybody doing that right now. Another thing is when you start seeing more future-based products saying, oh, well, this is for the long term, or you start seeing futures markets come up. If you know anything about the Great Depression, that's basically what caused it. People were doing futures on like farming products. I forgot the fancy word for it. If they're selling like potato futures, corn futures, wheat futures, and that way, and it was a way for salesmen to essentially make money off of farmers' hard-earned money. I grew up in Kansas, so I knew about that. We knew about the Dust Bowl. We knew about that, and it was, guys, the financial meltdowns in the early 1900s weren't caused by the lack of technology. As they ran out of money. Like I said, the farmers no longer had money because they'd sold all their futures, and it just spiraled out of control. So the next thing that you need to know, you can know when the future end is near, is when there are too many investors chasing the gold rush. People will start selling stocks for crypto. They're gonna start just trading in the retirement for crypto. When you start to see more and more people do that, that's when you know it's coming. Like I said, people are already doing that right now, I know, but it's more like subtle. Like you don't really know about too many people that do it, but when you start to see more and more people do it, that's when you know it's about to bust. And the other thing is excessive media coverage. Need I say more? The media has a horrible track record with misinformation. but yet we still come to them for a lot of valuable sources. So that's the next thing you look for. So guys, in closing, the purpose of this video was not to scare you, wasn't to discourage you. I initially this was never going to be a how-to video, so there's no like affiliate links to sign up for. This was just, like I said, to kind of just get this word out. If you know anybody that's thinking about crypto but just isn't sure, send this video to them. But yeah, with that said, also too, my prediction is that immediately after the bust, some financial institutions will miraculously provide their own cryptocurrency, and we will live in a mostly cashless society. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist in that I believe that they're causing it, but they're definitely staying out of it to let it happen, let the cards play, right, guys? And that's what they're financial. That's what really government institutions do. Because we as humans, we don't like to be forced into anything. We don't like to be like, you have to start getting vaccinations. You have to start using cryptocurrency. We basically like to be we like to be led to believe that we have the free will. And so what government sources will do is they allow us to mess up our own house before we call them, and to save us. They've done that multiple times in the past. Just after the housing bust, we needed all kinds of government security. If you guys remember, after 9/11, it was more I forget what it's called, the Patriot Act now gave them more permission to monitor us as humans. But that's what typically happens, and that's what I believe is going to happen with this. And like I said, I personally believe they're already working on their own cryptocurrency right now, their own way of doing it. I don't know if they're going to buy out Bitcoin. I don't know if they're going to buy out a lesser known brand. I don't know. They may just have their own already and not even need them. And that's going to lead us back to what I said about reverse musical chairs. I think what's going to happen is the government's going to say, hey, why are you playing with this volatile cryptocurrency exchange that's just gambling casino? Come sit on our comfortable couches. It's backed by your current government. It's backed by the IMF. It's backed by all these global sources. And then people are going to stop playing reverse musical chairs, and they're going to sit on the comfy couches of this government-led cryptocurrency exchange. So let me know what you think, guys, if you agree with me. If you have any, I know there's going to be tons of crypto trolls saying I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's fine. I get it. And the thing too, guys, is we may still be years away from this crypto meltdown, especially what I was talking about, the 401ks and just massive acceptance of cryptocurrency for it to happen. But who knows? I mean, 2020 was a crazy year. Who knows what they have in store for us in 2021? It may happen this year. It may happen 5 years from now. It may happen 10 years from now. But it's going to happen. I want to say mark my words, it will happen, but that sounded kind of cheesy. But that's just my belief. Let me know what you think, guys, if you agree with me or if you disagree. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.